Yo, what's going on, guys? And today we'll be doing the Sacramento Kings off-season recap. We'll be doing the season preview in the next week. But let's recap this off-season. It was a big one as this team 2 years ago ended their playoff drought. Then this following year, we knew that Mike Brown had said that he was willing to sacrifice some. If you guys didn't know, the year that they made the playoffs, they were the number one ranked offense or top three ranked offense, something like that, one of the top league's offenses. And he basically said, hey, I'm willing to give up some of this top ranked offense to become significantly better at defense, which they did improve defensively. And they are now a team that went out and they made some moves. So what were the moves that they went out and did? This was a team that understood in a crowded Western Conference they needed to make some moves. So they went ahead, brought back Malik Monk. I thought Devin Carter, who, yes, we know he's out with the injury right now, was a great first round pick. He's like Derek White. And then they got DeMar DeRozan, who I think was one of, if not arguably, the best player available that they could actually realistically get without breaking the bank. They also brought in Isaiah Crawford and Isaac Jones, who I thought were two guys from Portsmouth in the pre-draft process that were underrated as all hell, who could become really good basketball players. And they brought in Orlando Robinson, who's a local guy from Fresno State. And they got Jordan McLaughlin, who's another guy from the T-Wolves, gives them a backup point guard. And with this team, De'Aaron Fox, Kevin Huerter, DeMar DeRozan, Keegan Murray, Domantas Sabonis starting lineup with probably Keon Ellis pushing Kevin Huerter forward that shooting guard spot, and Malik Monk being that sixth man. They have Trey Lyles in the second unit. Now they brought in Jalen McDaniels as well. And they also have Colby Jones, who's kind of like a Josh Hart guy that they drafted last year. So let's get right into it and let's just talk about what we're seeing and like what's the expectations from this team. They went 46-36. They were ninth in the Western Conference. And for me, when we look at the Sacramento Kings, they signed Malik Monk to a 4 years, $78 million deal. So they're paying him now $17 million a year. DeMar's only making 23.4. Kevin Huerter's making 16.8. Sabonis is on that big old deal making 40.5, and then De'Aaron's making 34. So they have money committed. They got young guys. They brought him depth. And I think obviously re-signing Malik Monk and then orchestrating the DeMar DeRozan trade is obviously something that people might think is aggressive, as now San Antonio has the right to swap first in 2031, and the Kings also traded 2 seconds to Chicago. Sacramento could enter luxury tax for the first time since 2003-04 if Sabonis makes the All-Star team. And the front office has shown that despite winning 95 games in the past 2 seasons, they're not fully content with running back the same team and having continuity. I think the biggest question mark this offseason that we had was Kevin Huerter, if they were going to try to move off of him. And I don't think there was any way to upgrade from him. And I think if they can re-sign him for a cheaper deal, he's not bad. And if he can regain his form from a season, 2 seasons ago, or even back what he was doing in Atlanta, I think a lot of things can improve. I really do think right now Sacramento, they got, again, there wasn't a 20-point per game score. I think DeMar was better than Zach LaVine. That was going to be available. I know it hurts their floor spacing, 3-point shooting, and the Sabonis and DeMar, the spacing. I understand the concerns, and defensively as well, there's other concerns. But there was no other player who could to have 3 isolation scores, 3 guys who can take over a game. They needed that. DeMar DeRozan is an upgrade over Keegan Murray. I mean, not Keegan Murray. I mean, yes, Keegan Murray right now. Keegan Murray, they do believe is going to be good, and they're probably expecting Keegan Murray to take the jump, but over Harrison Barnes, who they traded away. Now, I do think that looking at this team, is DeMar DeRozan in this team good enough? Like, they got rid of Sasha, Davion Mitchell, Chris Duarte, and Harrison Barnes. As we've said, DeRozan, McDaniels, Carter, Jordan McLaughlin. They did bring in some defense, and I think the offensive prowess that DeRozan brings should fit well with Sabonis and Fox and Malik Monk. And I think they brought in guys like McDaniels, and I know they got rid of Davion Mitchell, who's one of their better defenders, and they brought in Carter, who, and even year before with the draft with Colby Jones, I think they've addressed the fact that they know offense is something that they're good at, but defense is what they need to improve at. Isaiah Crawford, Jalen McDaniels, Colby Jones, Keon Ellis, I would say, yeah, and Devin Carter are all great defenders. And arguably Devin Carter, Keon Ellis are 2 point of attack ball stoppers. Jalen McDaniels has flashed it. I mean, we all know who his brother is, even though I believe Jalen's older. I just think you look at this team and you know, all right, they've been trying to put it together. And I think when you look at DeRozan on a team like the Kings, you can't help but be happy to think it was a good fit at this point in his career instead of being. And it's a 3-year, $76 million deal. He's a guy who averaged 24 points, 4 rebounds. I like the idea. I know that people are going to be upset that, this is going to be something that's, did the Kings get better or worse? I think the Kings definitely improved. Despite being older, I think they got, again, DeRozan is one of, if not the most effective mid-range scorer in the league. And he's a clutch player. Yeah, he's not a better defender than Barnes, though he's better offensively. And the spacing is going to be off unless Sabonis starts attempting threes or DeRozan starts to hit them at a higher clip. I think that Barnes' three-point shooting is going to be overrated, and that DeMar DeRozan being a not super big floor spacer in Sabonis either is going to be something that people are going to get stuck on. But DeRozan's a legit all-star, and I know he's not what he used to be. And the problem is the Kings, you could argue, are too small, or that they don't have a rim protector, and that they might get dominated on the boards. But I think DeMar will help them, especially when the game slows down in the fourth quarters. And I think Barnes at this point was an overrated role player, and that's why they got rid of him. And obviously DeMar DeRozan is an upgrade from Barnes, and it wasn't like they were going to get themselves Paul George. I think DeMar DeRozan's better than Klay Thompson, and he's not a first option. He's probably a second, maybe even a really good third option at this point. But DeRozan's the best move, and getting him to take a cheaper contract than what Paul George was demanding, I think it was just good management. Now, outside of that, first off, it's a $140 million difference. So I think the whole thing, you're looking at this, it's you got yourself job security, and you got yourself somebody who's going to be an effective field goal shooter. So I do get excited to see that. I think they pointed this all into the right direction. And that's where I want to hear your guys' thoughts. If you made it to the end of the video, what do you guys think so far of what they were able to do and why? But besides that, yeah, that's going to be my video for today. Hit that like and subscribe button if you guys did enjoy.